Imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions. Albert Einstein. Imagination is not an escape from reality, but a place where the soul silently builds the future before our feet can even step there. Every great thing in life once existed as a vague image in someone's mind. Before a city is built, it is just a sketch in the architect's mind. An immortal piece of music is first just a faint echo in the artist's heart. And a strong person was once merely the version of themselves they silently imagined during their weakest days. We often live by the images we believe in internally, rather than what our eyes see externally. A person with a positive imagination is like someone walking in the dark but always seeing the dawn in the distance. They can endure the present because a brighter tomorrow exists in their mind. Conversely, those who lose the ability to imagine are often trapped in the invisible cage of fear and doubt. They view life as a dark hallway with no exit because their mind has never drawn a door. Imagination is the preview of destiny. It is like the trailer of an unreleased movie, giving us the motivation to walk through life's harshest chapters. When a person imagines being happy, the brain begins to generate feelings of hope. When someone visualizes success, their inner self gradually learns to act like a winner. The mind always finds ways to turn what is repeated inside into external reality. Some live their entire lives with souls as barren as a drought-stricken land because they never allowed themselves to dream big. They fear failure, so they do not dare to imagine. But in truth, the most terrifying thing is not failure, but living without a sky in your mind to aim for. We do not die when our hearts stop beating. We begin to die the moment we lose the ability to envision a better life. Protect your imagination as you would protect the last ember in a freezing winter. Let your mind fly far beyond the limitations of the present. Because every miracle in life starts with a small image in the mind of someone who dares to believe. And sometimes our most beautiful future is not shaped by circumstances, but born of the courage to imagine light even while standing in the dark. Faith is to believe what you do not see. The reward of this faith is to see what you believe. St. Augustine. People always want to see before they believe because their eyes make them feel safe. Yet the greatest things in life often begin with the invisible. An unformed hope, an untouched dream, and a faith with no evidence other than the voice within the heart. Faith is not blindness, but the ability to see the seed of the future in a barren field. Faith acts as a force of mental restructuring. When a person believes that tomorrow will be better, their mind begins to change how it perceives the present. Pain is no longer an end, but a phase of transformation. Failure is no longer a sentence, but just an unfinished lesson. Faith allows us to endure life's longest winters because we know that spring still exists somewhere. Like a sailor in a dark, foggy ocean, he keeps steering not because he sees the shore, but because he believes it is there. Life is always full of strange paradoxes. A seed must be buried in darkness before it can rise as a green tree. Diamonds must undergo immense pressure before they can shine. And so must we. We often have to walk through times when everything is bleak, with only one thing keeping us standing: faith. Faith is the invisible bridge connecting who we are now with who we will become in the future. Those without faith easily collapse in the face of hardship because they only see the wall. But those with faith see the door that lies behind that wall. The greatest miracle of faith is that it not only changes how we see the world, but also changes the very world we live in. When a person believes in their own worth, they begin to act with a distinct confidence. When someone believes their life has meaning, they radiate an energy that draws others in. The human mind is like fertile soil. Whatever is planted long enough with belief will gradually grow into reality. Perhaps that is why the strongest people are not those who have never trembled, but those who keep walking even when they cannot see the light at the end of the path. Faith does not eliminate darkness, but it gives us the courage to walk through it without losing ourselves. And the greatest reward of faith is not just achieving what we desire, but that throughout the journey, we have become a deeper, stronger, and more resilient version of ourselves. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Seneca. Many look at others' success and call it luck, as if witnessing a door naturally open for someone, without understanding that behind that door lie thousands of hours of silent preparation. No one sees the long, pressure-filled nights, the silent failures, or the moments someone patiently refines themselves before any opportunity even appears. People often only see the dawn, but not the sun's struggle through the dark night to rise. People like to believe in luck because it makes it easy to explain the gap between themselves and successful individuals. Admitting that success requires preparation forces us to face the responsibility of changing ourselves, which is far more difficult. But the truth is that opportunity is always around us. The only difference is that not everyone is capable of recognizing and seizing it. Opportunity is like a heavy rain passing through life. Those who have prepared their seeds will have a harvest, while those unprepared only see muddy ground and complain about the weather. An artist might spend 10 years practicing just to shine for a single moment on stage. An entrepreneur may go through countless failures before meeting the right moment that changes their life. But that moment is not a random miracle. It is the result of daily accumulation of perseverance, like an arrow pulled back long before being released at a speed that astounds everyone. Life does not favor the lazy who only wait for luck to fall from the sky. It usually hands opportunities to those who silently prepare, even when there is no sign that a reward is coming. Remarkably, preparation builds not just skills, but a distinct state of mind. Those who are well prepared step into an opportunity with the calm of someone who knows they deserve it. They do not panic in the face of challenges because they have a solid foundation built on discipline and experience. Meanwhile, the unprepared often lose opportunities even when they appear right in front of them, paralyzed by fear and self-doubt. Life operates under a very fair rule. What we silently sow today becomes the luck others see tomorrow. Do not be obsessed with waiting for the perfect moment. Focus on refining yourself, accumulating knowledge, nurturing your will, and keeping your mind ready. Because one day, when the door of opportunity suddenly swings open, you will realize that what others call luck is actually just the inevitable meeting of long-term preparation and the right moment in life. It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. Marcus Aurelius. We spent too much time fearing loss, failure, and pain, so much so that we forget the saddest thing is not a life that ends, but a life that never truly opens up. Some exist for decades, yet their souls never truly wake up. They live like leaves swept away by the wind of habit, security, and the opinions of others, without ever stepping out to listen to the true call within them. We often confuse existing with living. Existing is just repeating identical days, waking up, working, enduring, and waiting for time to pass. But living is when the heart feels a resonance with the world. It is when someone dares to love what they love, walk the path they choose, and dare to fail for what sets their soul on fire. A candle that burns brightly and then goes out is still more meaningful than one that has never been lit. The greatest tragedy is not dying too young, but having the fire within go out long before the body stops breathing. Our greatest fear is not death, but uncertainty. Thus, people choose the comfort zone even if it withers their soul day by day. They delay their dreams, thinking there is still plenty of time. But time is like sand slipping through fingers. The tighter you hold, the faster it runs. Some wait until they are good enough to start, strong enough to walk, or perfect enough to live truthfully. But life never hands out absolute certainty. It only opens doors for those brave enough to step through while their hearts are still trembling. Curiously, we often only truly understand the value of life when facing loss. A severe illness, a separation, or a moment standing at the fragile edge of life makes us realize we have neglected so many meaningful things. They could have loved more, explored more, lived more authentically, but instead let invisible fears imprison them. Ultimately, what haunts us is not the failures we experienced, but the potential we never dared to test. Truly, living does not mean life must be grand or glamorous. Sometimes it is simply waking up each morning, feeling that you are on the right path, being yourself, and experiencing every moment with a heart still full of passion. The one who truly lives is not the one with the most years, but the one who breathes a soul into each of their years. Do not wait for a perfect day to start living. Do not wait for life's permission to take a step. Live while you can still feel, still love, still fail, and still rise. Because in the end, what brings us peace is not how long we existed, but how deeply we truly lived during that brief span. You must take life as it comes at you and make the best of it. Yann Martel. Much of our suffering does not stem from reality, but from our constant resistance to it. They want life to be more perfect, fair, and easy. And when things do not go as planned, their souls begin to sink into disappointment. But life never promised to conform to anyone's wishes. It is like the ocean, sometimes calm, sometimes stormy, and what decides our fate is not the weather, but how we learn to steer our boat through the waves. People often get trapped in the comparison trap. They look at others' lives and feel lacking. That person has more opportunities, a better background, or more luck. But the more they compare, the more energy they lose to develop themselves. A rose seed will never bloom if it constantly despairs over not being an ancient tree. Everyone is born into different circumstances, but true value lies not in what we start with, but in what we do with what we have in our hands. When we accept reality, our inner self begins to break free from negative resistance. This does not mean giving up on aspirations, but stopping the waste of energy on complaining about what cannot be changed. A strong person is not someone who has never known misfortune, but someone who knows how to turn adversity into fuel for growth. Some are born in darkness but become a beacon of light for others. Some start with empty hands, but through will and persistence, they build a life they can be proud of. Our miracle lies in the ability to create meaning even from imperfection. Life is like a deck of cards where everyone is dealt different random hands. Some hold beautiful cards from the start, while others hold hand after hand of difficult ones. But ultimate victory does not depend entirely on the deck, but on how the player plays them. Many fail not because they lack ability, but because they are too busy complaining about what they don't have. Meanwhile, successful people often start by fully utilizing the smallest things around them. They understand that the greatest strength lies not in favorable circumstances, but in one's attitude. The most beautiful part of maturity is when we stop asking, "Why has life treated me this way?" and start asking, "What can I do with this life?" In that very moment, they cease to be victims of circumstances and become the creators of their own destiny. For true happiness does not come from having everything, but from the ability to create value from what is present. Learn to accept life with a peaceful yet unyielding heart. Utilize every small opportunity, every capability you possess, and every lesson, whether painful or beautiful. For sometimes, what makes a life extraordinary is not starting in ideal conditions, but knowing how to turn ordinary, even disadvantageous things into your own unique light. Life is a battle. May we all be enabled to fight it well. Charlotte Brontë. For living has never been a fully peaceful journey. Everyone is fighting their own silent battles that the outside world cannot fully see. Battles with fear, pressure, painful memories, disappointment in oneself, and sometimes with the very thoughts silently eroding their soul day by day. Some fight to survive. Some fight to keep their faith. And some fight simply to avoid losing themselves in a world of constant upheaval. Remarkably, the greatest battles are often silent. A person smiling on the outside might be straining to cope with loneliness on the inside. Someone who seems strong may have wanted to collapse many times, yet they keep walking because they know they must not stop. Life is like an unmapped battlefield, where every day we must learn to rise from wounds that no one else can see. And the paradox is that these very wounds are often where strength is born. We mature not when we avoid all hardships, but when we learn to face them without letting our souls shatter. Pressure is like fire. It can consume the weak, but it can temper others into steel. The most resilient people are not those who have never cried, but those who keep fighting after crying oceans of tears. They understand that life does not hand out medals for complaining, but only opens doors to those persistent enough to walk through the storm. We often wish life were easier, but perhaps it is better to wish we were stronger. For if a tree grows up in a windless place, its roots will be too weak to withstand the first storm. Life's challenges, however painful, are often destiny's way of forcing us to discover a strength we never knew we possessed. Some only truly understand the value of courage after passing through despair. Some souls only become deep after having been broken. Yet, fighting well does not mean turning cold or hardening ourselves to the point of losing emotion. A true warrior is not someone who doesn't feel pain, but someone who retains kindness despite experiencing many wounds. In a world of competition and pressure, keeping one's heart from turning bitter is sometimes harder than any other battle. That is the rarest form of strength. If life is a battle, fight with awareness, persistence, and self-belief. There will be days when you are tired, doubtful, and want to give up. But remember, no one grows strong solely through peaceful days. It is rising after defeat that creates human depth. And ultimately, the greatest victory is not defeating the world, but overcoming your own weak, fearful, and limited self to live a meaningful life. I've had a lot of worries in my life, most of which never happened. Mark Twain. Humans have a strange capacity. We can create suffering entirely through our imagination. Something that hasn't even happened is enough to cause sleeplessness. A tiny possibility can blow up into a storm inside our heads. Uncontrolled, the mind is like a closed room full of echoes, where negative thoughts loop until they become more terrifying than the truth. Worry is a natural human mechanism to protect ourselves from danger. But the problem is that the brain does not clearly distinguish between a real threat and a potential occurrence. The moment a negative thought appears, the mind starts directing a series of terrible scenarios, like a tragedy film director. We worry about failure before we even start. We worry about rejection before speaking up. We worry about loss while everything remains intact. And in doing so, we suffer multiple times over even though nothing has actually happened in reality. The irony is that most of the things we fear fade away as time passes. Conversations that once made us anxious turn out to be completely ordinary. Failures we thought would ruin our lives end up being just small lessons. Things we thought we could never overcome quietly slip behind us. Yet in moments of anxiety, the human mind tends to exaggerate everything, like looking at a small shadow in the dark and mistaking it for a monster. Modern life makes it even easier to get trapped in prolonged anxiety. The pressure to succeed, social comparison, and the fear of being left behind keep many living with minds pulled as tight as guitar strings. They are no longer present, but constantly dragged back by regrets of the past or thrust forward into fears of the future. Consequently, they lose the most precious thing, peace of mind in the present moment of living. Yet maturity begins when we realize that not every thought is worth believing. Just because the mind says something scary does not make it true. A dark cloud in the sky does not guarantee a storm is coming. Strong people are not those who never worry, but those who see worry like waves. They come and go, and there is no need to let them drown us. Perhaps the greatest lesson in life is learning to live closer to reality instead of in the scary assumptions of our minds. Let tomorrow come, then face tomorrow. Focus on what you have instead of exhausting yourself over things that haven't happened. For very often, what hurts us most is not life, but the frightening stories our own minds write in the dark. Life is funny. Things change, people change, but you will always be you. So stay true to yourself and never sacrifice who you are for anyone. Zayn Malik. Life never stands still. Relationships we thought would last forever can grow distant. Passionate feelings can cool down one day. Even who we are today is not exactly the same as who we were yesterday. Yet amidst all these changes, the only thing that stays with us from beginning to end is ourselves. And the greatest tragedy is not being abandoned by others, but losing yourself just to be accepted. From childhood, humans carry an intense need to be loved and to belong. Many silently put on masks to fit the expectations of society, family, or those they love. They smile when they want to cry, agree when their heart objects, and live by standards that slowly suffocate their soul. At first, that sacrifice seems small, but over time, it is like a river diverted for so long that it forgets where it originally wanted to flow. And then one day, they look back at their life with emptiness, because everything seems right, yet it is no longer their own life. When someone constantly lives against their true nature, a quiet division appears within. One part tries to please the outside world, while the other quietly suffers from not being heard. That is why many have success in relationships, yet still feel lonely and lost. For the human soul cannot be truly at peace when we betray our own feelings and values for too long. Everything can change unexpectedly. Someone who promised to stay forever can become a stranger. Things once deemed vital fade away over time. But if we retain our true essence, our kindness, sincerity, and the values we believe in, then no matter how the world changes, we still have a place to return to within ourselves. This is the deepest form of strength, not losing your soul amidst life's upheavals. Staying true to yourself does not mean being selfish or disregarding others. It is the courage to admit who you are, what you love, and what you cannot accept. It is daring to live in alignment with the voice inside, rather than living as a copy made to please others. A tree does not need to become a flower to be beautiful. A star does not need to turn into the sun to have value. And humans do not need to trade away their identity just to be recognized. Those who truly love you will not love a fake version you try to create to please them. They will love your true self with both your light and your flaws. Don't live like an actor who must forever memorize lines written by someone else. Live as yourself, for that is the only role in this world that no one else can play for you. A grateful heart is the beginning of greatness. It is an expression of humility. It is a foundation for the development of such virtues as prayer, faith, courage, contentment, happiness, love, and well-being. James E. Faust. In a world where we are constantly caught up in the race of ambition, comparison, and the feeling of never enough, gratitude becomes a quiet yet profoundly deep power. It does not make us weak or complacent, but helps us look at life with wider eyes, where even the smallest things carry meaning. Gratitude has the power to change how the brain perceives the world. Someone who only focuses on what they lack will always live with a sense of scarcity, no matter how much they have. But someone who appreciates what they have creates a sense of abundance from within. Strangely, the human mind tends to take precious things for granted. A healthy body, someone still by our side, or another morning waking up to see the sun. Only when these are gone do we realize how rich we truly were. Gratitude is thus like a light that helps us see existing value instead of forever chasing endless voids. A grateful heart always goes hand in hand with humility, for only those who understand they are not the center of the universe can truly appreciate what they receive. The proud take everything as their due, so they rarely feel satisfied. While the humble understand that life owes them nothing, so every tiny joy becomes a precious gift. Like a field watered by gentle rain, a grateful soul gradually bears other beautiful virtues: peace, love, and the ability to see hope even in hardship. Most profoundly, gratitude does not only appear on happy days. It truly matures through adversity. Some learn to love more after being hurt. Some only understand the value of peace after walking through suffering. And some only learn to cherish each ordinary moment of life after a loss. That is the most beautiful form of growth, when we do not let suffering turn us bitter, but instead transform it into deeper understanding and gentleness toward life. Gratitude is also the foundation of courage. For when someone feels that life still holds so many precious things, they find more reason to keep fighting. Faith is born from this too, the belief that though life is imperfect, there always exist good things worth preserving. And true happiness does not lie in owning everything, but in the ability to feel the beauty of what lies right before our eyes. Modern life turns many into thirsty souls standing in the middle of a river. They have so much, yet still feel empty because their hearts have forgotten how to be grateful. They run forever toward the future without feeling the warmth of the present. But a grateful person lives differently. They walk slower to feel, love deeper to appreciate, and live more peacefully because they understand the most precious things are sometimes not grand, but but simple things silently existing around them every day. Perhaps true greatness does not begin with power or achievement, but from the moment we bow before life with a deeply appreciative heart. For from the soil of gratitude, the most beautiful aspects of the soul can grow and bloom. In faith, there is enough light for those who want to believe, and enough shadows to blind those who don't. Blaise Pascal. Faith has never been a matter of what the eyes see, but of which direction the heart chooses to look. Two people can walk through the same storm, yet one sees destruction, while the other sees an opportunity to grow. Some view life as a meaningless sequence of injustices, while others still recognize light even in their darkest hours. The difference lies not in circumstances, but within. We always tend to look for evidence for what we already believe. Someone carrying hope will see a door in the wall. Someone steeped in doubt will see only the wall. Faith is therefore like a lamp in the hand of one walking in the night. It does not make potholes or storms vanish from the path, but it provides enough light to keep walking. Those without faith often demand to see everything clearly before they trust. But life does not operate like a math problem with an absolute answer. There are things that can only be seen after we are brave enough to walk by faith. Curiously, light and darkness always coexist in every circumstance. A failure can be an end to the despairing, yet a turning point to those who still believe. A loss can cause someone to close their heart forever, yet it can also make a soul deeper and more loving. Faith does not change the event that occurred, but it changes the meaning we assign to it. And that very meaning decides whether they will be swallowed by darkness or transform suffering into strength. We often think darkness is something external, but many times the true darkness lies within our own minds. It is when prolonged doubt blinds us to hope, when hurt stops us from believing in love, or when failure makes us feel worthless. A soul that has lost faith is like a room with all doors locked, where light, even if present, cannot enter. Not because the world is completely dark, but because they have stopped opening their hearts to see the light. Yet true faith is not blindness. It does not deny suffering or pretend that life is always easy. Real faith is the ability to look directly at an unstable reality while keeping hope alive deep inside. Like someone standing in the freezing winter yet believing spring will return. That is not naivety, it is a rare spiritual strength. Perhaps the deepest aspect of faith is that it not only helps us see the light, but turns us into a light for others. Someone who keeps their faith in adversity inspires those around them with the feeling that life is still worth hoping for. And sometimes, just a tiny ray of light in the soul is enough to save someone from an entire sky of despair. Life always contains both light and darkness, but what decides what we see is not entirely the world out there, but how our hearts choose to believe. For in the end, faith is not believing after seeing, but keeping the light within even when surrounded by so much darkness.